Hey, welcome. Domain Dave here from cheapwinefinder.com with another podcast for a wine review that we wrote up on the cheapwinefinder.com website. Check it out. This is a cheapie. This is a Trader Joe's wine. It's $5.99 for a red wine, which is kind of crazy. But it's the Originals Washington State Syrah 2022. Now, this is a wine that kind of has a long history. It was originally part of Charles Smith Wine Company out of Washington, D.C. That's a whole story there. I think it was part of their house brand of wines, which was sold off to the wine group way back when. And now Precept, which is the largest family-owned or privately owned winery in the Northwest, they own the brand, so it's been around a while and it's still going. And it was, I think it's always been, well, maybe, I don't think it was $5.99 when it started. I think it was a little more expensive. There is Charles Smith Wines also had a wine with similar labels. It's this one is black lettering with white background, and the other brand, which has a similar grapes, but it's a little bit slightly more upscale, a lot more upscale. It's probably about $10 cheaper. That Syrah was Boom Boom Syrah. They had Kung Fu Girl, Riesling. They had Eve Chardonnay, because it's just like apples. So this is from a family of wines that Charles Smith sold off. I mean, he's now making high-end wines and other wines he wants to do. Which is what you do. You have these hot brands, you sell to somebody else and make $100 million, and you go do what you want. So what we have here is a very inexpensive wine from Washington State. You used to see wine all the time saying that it was Columbia Valley, which it is, but they started putting their name on it as Washington State. There's only one small AVA outside of the Columbia Valley. But I guess it's time for Washington to take ownership of what they are doing. So we have this from somewhere in Washington. Back in the day, Charles Smith used to tell you everything that was going on with the wine. He probably lists the vineyards he got it from. Nowadays, you don't know anything. It's just Washington wine. And at $5.99, you don't ask too many questions if it sips well. And it does sip well. I'm going to take a sip. This is the kind of wine you have for Taco Tuesday, or you got a really good frozen pizza, and there are really good frozen pizzas nowadays. There used to be a time when they all were cardboard with cheese. Not anymore. There's some pizzas out there that are actually pretty worth eating in a pinch. It's that kind of wine. You're not going to take it to the fancy BYOB place where you can bring your own bottle. You're probably not going to have it for a steak, though you probably could. But it really doesn't have that kind of tannins, that kind of thing going for it for really beef type things or meatier dishes. This is more soft and smooth and sleek, which is fine Syrah. It's still plump and juicy like Syrah should be. Syrah is originally from the Rhone Valley. The northern Rhone is all Syrah. The southern Rhone is blends, Syrah, Grenache, and about 12 other grapes they can toss in there. And it's a Chateauneuf du Pape and all those things. It's a very good grape from there. It was all the rage in Australia, Shiraz, in the first part of the century. And it's fallen off, and Washington State's still holding on. I mean, there's still a place to go. If you're looking for it, I mean, they're not the only place to go, but there's a ton of highly rated Syrah wines from Washington State because they do that rounded thing but still have structure. And even at $5.99, this thing is rounded and it still has structure. It's not a bad wine at all. Take one more sip and then we're going to talk about something else. Yeah, I mean, it's $5.99. It's a solid wine. It's got the acidity. Tannins are soft and smooth. It drinks pretty well. The flavors are decent. It's not the most delicious wine or doesn't have the most depth, but it drinks well. Which brings me to a whole nother subject about value price wine. Last year, France was off 10% in their exports. Wine across the board was down by 8%. There are a bunch of wineries that had, vineyards who had contracts canceled because people who were planning on having a new wine brand decided not to because it wasn't the right time. So there's an excess of grapes in the higher end right now, which means that it's probably not showing up quite yet, but before too long, you want to be watching Costco, Trader Joe's, and Aldi because they're going to be getting higher end grapes for their wines at lower prices because they need to sell them, and they will sell at a lower price just to move them this time. And these store brands are the ones that are fastest on their feet in order to take advantage of it. In retail wines, you'll find brands that you never heard before, and until the wine picks up, it'll last 1-2 years and then disappear, because it'll too take the grapes from the better places. So like Trader Joe's Grand Reserve and those kind of things, they're actually going to be Grand Reserves. That's something to start looking for. Keep your eye out. I've seen some single vineyard wines right now for under 15, under 20. So there you go. It's out there. I'll keep an eye out for you. This is Domain Dave, cheapwinefinder.com. This is the originals Washington Syrah 2022. It was good. So keep it cheap, stay warm, and I'll be talking to everybody in a couple of days. Adios. Bye-bye.